I'm Carmine Gallo with author Geoff Tuff, co-author of Provoke, How Leaders Shape the Future by Overcoming Fatal Human Flaws. Geoff is a principal at Deloitte Consulting, a senior leader in Deloitte's innovation practice. Hello, Geoff. Nice to see you.
Hi, Carmine. Thanks for having me on. Nice to see you as well.
Hey, Geoff, you have an unlikely career path, at least in my opinion. Here you are working for one of the leading global consulting companies, Deloitte, but your background is interesting to me. And I think it provides a valuable lesson for anyone in leadership or aspiring leaders today. So let's talk about it briefly. You have a background in English literature and creative writing. That's what you studied in college. Then you got an MBA on top of that at Harvard. How did literature and writing help you in your career? And what role does writing and English literature play in helping your clients create innovative new ideas, products, and services at Deloitte?
Sure. So I'm sure I can tell this story in a way where it seems like a completely perfectly planned linear path, but it wasn't. So I love writing. I've always loved writing. When I was in high school, I had wanted to be a novelist. My plans as I went through college was to somehow create some sort of writing career. But then life took a different turn. I ended up deciding to explore the business world through an internship, and I didn't really understand or love business when I was in my consulting internship, but I really loved the people I was working with, really smart, really down-to-earth people. And I loved what is at the heart of consulting, which ultimately is getting people to recognize new information and do things differently. So to make a very long story short, I think the reason a strong ability to write and a strong ability to communicate is absolutely critical for anyone in consulting, but I would argue for anyone in business generally, is you don't get change unless human beings are convinced they need to change. And in order to be convinced of anything, you need to have strong communicators on the other side of the table. So I won't argue that my writing does that alone, but I know that the process of writing and the process of putting into words a convincing storyline is at the heart of consulting.
Excellent. Great advice. I think people are very siloed these days, and especially in technology. I live in Silicon Valley. So I am surrounded by engineers, scientists, technologists who are very focused on their niche and on their skill. They underestimate the power of the written word and their writing skills and how far it can get them in their careers. Do you find that?
Yes, I do find that. I do find that silos are often too strong within companies, and I strongly believe in the power of lateral thinking. And especially if you're trying to innovate, if you're trying to do things differently, being able to take some situations and see how they can be analogously applied in surprising other situations is the key to getting that right. And there's no way you can do that if you only ever work within your silos. And writing is one of the ways that you can express the ability to do that lateral thinking. I think, though, that part of what it means to be a writer, and part of what actually is at the heart of why I've been successful on the back of a writing background, is it is an inherently human-oriented technique. In other words, if you're not thinking about the audiences that you're writing for and what you want them to feel and what you want them to believe or what have you, you're writing about characters in a story, especially when you come from a more fiction-oriented background like I did originally. You're thinking about developing characters. And so you're always thinking about what makes human beings tick and what makes them actually shift their behavior. And ultimately, especially in the world that we're living in these days with business, that's what matters. And that's what actually drives real change.
Well, I'm a big believer in, if you are focused on engineering or a particular area of science, take a writing course. Yeah. Because those writing skills will set you apart. It's amazing how that happens.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.